Welcome back to our series, Depression Unveiled. In our previous chapter, we delved into the basics of depression. We took a close look at the symptoms ranging from persistent sadness to a significant decrease in energy. We explored the various causes, which can be genetic, environmental, or a combination of both. We learned that depression is a common condition, affecting millions worldwide. It's not a sign of weakness, and it's not something that you can just snap out of. The statistics we discussed were eye-opening, shedding light on the scale and scope of this global health issue. But we also emphasized that depression is a treatable condition. With the right help and support, people with depression can lead happy, fulfilling lives. Now that we've refreshed our understanding of depression, we're ready to dive deeper into the emotional landscape of this condition. Depression is more than just feeling sad. It encompasses a range of emotions that can be overwhelming and difficult to navigate. Think of it as sailing through a stormy sea. The sky is heavy with dark clouds and the waves are tumultuous. The emotions associated with depression are just as daunting and varied as the elements in this tempest. One of the most common emotions, of course, is sadness. This isn't your everyday kind of sadness, where you might feel down for a while, then bounce back. This is a deep, profound sadness that feels like a constant companion, clinging to your soul and coloring your world in shades of gray. Then there's guilt, a heavy burden that weighs you down, making every step feel like you're walking through quicksand. It's a relentless voice in your head whispering that you should have done better, that you're to blame, that you're not enough. Worthlessness is another common emotion. It's like a mirror that reflects a distorted image of yourself, convincing you that you're unimportant, insignificant, that you don't matter to the world. Anger, too, can be part of the emotional landscape of depression. It can flare up unexpectedly, a sudden storm on your horizon. It's a raw, burning emotion that can feel uncontrollable, leaving you feeling exhausted and drained. And then there's hopelessness, perhaps the most crushing emotion of all. It's a fog that obscures your path, convincing you that there's no way out, no light at the end of the tunnel. These emotions are intense and persistent, and they interfere with daily life. They're not just fleeting feelings that pass by like clouds in the sky. They're more like a storm that's here to stay, at least for a while. But remember, even the worst storms eventually pass. And just as a skilled sailor learns to navigate through a storm, you too can learn to navigate through these emotions. Understanding these emotions is the first step towards managing them, and that's what we'll be exploring next. Recognizing these negative emotions is a crucial step in dealing with depression. In our journey to understand depression, an important milestone is the ability to identify and acknowledge the negative emotions that come with it. These emotions can range from feelings of deep sadness and hopelessness to anger, guilt, or even apathy. Each person's experience is unique, and so are the emotions that accompany their depression. Much like a stormy sea, these emotions can be tumultuous, overwhelming, and at times seemingly unending. It's easy to feel lost in such a storm, with no land in sight. But remember, just as with any storm, these feelings too will pass. The key is not to fight against the storm, but rather to acknowledge its presence and navigate through it. It's crucial to understand that these feelings are a part of you, but they do not define you. They are not a sign of weakness or a character flaw. They are simply emotions, and like all emotions, they are transient. They come and they go. They are part of the human experience. Suppressing these feelings or ignoring them can often exacerbate depression. It's like pushing a beach ball underwater. The more you push, the more it fights to surface. Instead, acknowledging these emotions can be empowering. It's the first step towards gaining control over them. It's saying, yes, I am feeling sad, but that's okay. It's okay to feel this way. This is not to say that recognizing these emotions is easy. It can be challenging, and at times it may feel uncomfortable. But remember, it's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to feel sad or angry or guilty. These feelings are valid. They are real. And recognizing them is the first step towards managing them. So how do we recognize these emotions? It starts with self-awareness. It's about paying attention to your emotions and understanding what triggers them. It's about being honest with yourself and giving yourself permission to feel these emotions. Once we've recognized these emotions, we can start to work on strategies to manage them. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this in the next chapter. Managing negative emotions can be challenging, but there are practical strategies that can help. One such strategy is cognitive behavioral techniques. This approach involves recognizing and challenging negative thought patterns that fuel depressive emotions. For example, if you find yourself constantly dwelling on negative thoughts, try to identify these patterns and consciously challenge them. Ask yourself if there's evidence to support these thoughts, or if you're perhaps being too hard on yourself. By shifting your thought patterns, you can change how you feel. Next up is mindfulness, a strategy that encourages you to stay present and focused. It might sound a bit abstract, but it's actually quite simple. It's about observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Being mindful means you're aware of what's happening in the present moment without getting caught up in the past or worrying about the future. This can help reduce the intensity of negative emotions. Physical activity is another effective strategy. You might be thinking, how can exercise help manage my emotions? Well, engaging in physical activity releases endorphins, the body's natural mood lifters. Whether it's a brisk walk, a yoga class, or even dancing to your favorite song, physical activity can significantly improve your mood. Lastly, never underestimate the power of seeking professional help. Therapists and counselors are trained to help you navigate your emotional landscape. They can provide you with tools and techniques to manage negative emotions and offer a safe space to express your feelings. In addition to these, remember that everyone is unique, and what works for one person may not work for another. It's important to explore different strategies and see what works best for you. And above all, remember this: it's okay to ask for help. You're not alone in this journey. There are people who want to help, and there are resources available to you. You don't have to face these emotions on your own. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. You're not alone in this journey. In this chapter, we've explored the emotional landscape of depression and how to navigate it. We've journeyed through the different emotions that intertwine with depression, from sadness and hopelessness to anger and frustration. We've seen how these emotions can be overwhelming, but we've also discovered that recognizing them is the first step towards managing them. We've discussed strategies to manage these negative emotions, such as mindfulness and cognitive behavioral techniques. We've learned that these methods can be effective in helping us to reframe our thoughts, thereby reducing the intensity of these emotions. But most importantly, we've emphasized that while this journey can be challenging, you're not alone. There are resources and support available to help you navigate this emotional landscape. Stay tuned for the next chapter in our series, where we'll continue to unveil the complexities of depression. Remember, it's okay to not be okay, and seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness.